and I think it's called fish syndrome, fish odour syndrome, isn't it, Dawn? We've got Dr. Dawn Porter with us this morning, and Karen James, who sadly suffers with this. And this means that your breath, and you say sometimes your body odour and sweat smells of rotten egg.
Yeah, rotten egg. It can be a fecal odour as well. The name fish odour syndrome is really misleading, and it can prevent people from being diagnosed, because in fact the odour can be fecal or rotten egg. In my case, it manifests itself mostly through the breath, but other people can emit the odour through the feet, the groin area, the armpits. It varies from individual to individual.
We have interviewed a lady on here, I think,
yes,
last year,
yeah,
and she said hers was more kind of fishy, and almost, she said, like old rubbish smell. It really affected her life so badly. Obviously, it's a very embarrassing thing to deal with. When did it first happen to you? Because you can, this can be genetic, Dawn,
yes,
can't it? You can be born with this, but that wasn't the case for you, was it?
No, I believe not. It came on, I would say, approximately 10 years ago. There are two types. There's TMAU type 1. I believe I've got the acquired type, which is TMAU type 2. Excuse me. It can result from an infection, and it can happen to anyone at any time. And I'm kind of representing not just people who have TMAU, but there are many other syndromes which are similar, which are as yet unnamed.
And how easy or difficult was it to get a diagnosis?
It was extremely difficult. One of the reasons I've come on the show is to raise awareness of the condition. Doctors don't know about it, dentists don't know about it, so you end up going round and round in circles, wasting lots of time and NHS money doing investigations which are totally irrelevant.
Dawn, why don't doctors know about it?
Well, it is rare. I mean, I've been a GP for many years and not seen a case in surgery. Actually, it's something we covered on embarrassing bodies.
Yeah.
And it is, as Karen's just said, it's very distressing.
Oh,
and it's basically, it's a build-up of this chemical, trimethylaminuria, which we all produce. You and I produce it, and it's produced from the breakdown of things like meat and fish. But what normally happens is that the TMA gets broken down further to TMO, which doesn't smell of anything. If you get a build-up of TMA, then your sweat and your breath can start to smell fishy or like rotten eggs or different
can you control it?
You can problem with an enzyme, which means you can't break the TMA down, or it can be linked to an overgrowth of bacteria in the gut, which means that actually you're producing too much TMA. And there are a number of ways of tackling things. So we can either say, okay, we've got to be really strict with the diet, but that can be pretty miserable. You cut out all the things that might cause a build-up of TMA. You can use some skin creams with a low pH so that you can neutralise the odour. And sometimes you can take like charcoal tablets to try and help to absorb
what
it.
have you tried, Karen? What would you
All of
advise?
this, I would say, hope for anybody who's watching and thinks they might have this condition, to be very optimistic and try all the approaches that Dawn's just mentioned. However, they're very limited. The treatment protocol is basically inadequate. The diet that we are given is almost impossible. To reduce choline from your diet to such an extent that you can eliminate the TMA
So what can't you eat?
production.
Loads of things.
I'd rather say what I can eat,
Okay.
which is
Not very much.
courgettes, carrots, celery, pineapple, strawberries, potatoes,
So no meat, so no protein.
hardly any protein. I do a diet of no protein for 4 days, which is grueling, to say the least. You feel very weak by the 4th
And
day.
how has this affected you emotionally? We're obviously talking about all the physical effects. You said the smell and what your diet, but
Yeah.
what about emotionally for you?
Well, I
How's-
think this is, I consider this a disability. It's an unrecognised disability, and I think TMAU and also other odour-producing conditions, which are yet to be researched, they all produce the same effect, which is basically it's a form of solitary confinement. I mean, we use solitary confinement as a way of, it's part of our judicial system to kind of further punish criminals.
Torture in some
But
cases, isn't it?
I feel as if I'm in a form of solitary confinement by having this condition, because it's socially isolating. You're not relaxed, and the social
You're a teacher,
interaction is,
aren't you?
yeah, which is very difficult. I've reduced my hours to, I've halved my workload basically. I
To
work
kind of reduce the
part-time.
stress.
To reduce the stress, because stress also exacerbates the condition, it makes it worse.
And have you had kids say, oh, Missy stink?
I have,
It's like, and they don't hold back, do they?
yeah, but when people react to my odour, I don't actually get offended, because I would probably do the same where I'm in their position. What does kind of irritate me is the fact that nobody seems to care about the condition enough to investigate it, to research it, and to raise awareness amongst the medical professionals in the country so that they can help people like me who for 10 years go about not knowing why they stink and don't get the help that we need.
How low have you been?
Sometimes I get very low, but actually I was never on the brink of suicide, so I do need to correct that headline. Never, never. I'm a very positive person. I do yoga. I try to think positive and do positive things, and that helps me to stay a very kind of positive, energetic
person. Can I just say, I'm quite close to you. I cannot smell.
Well, I was going to say exactly the same thing. No,
can you? So is it certain days? Is it stronger than other days? Or
certainly,
are you having a good day now?
Yeah, and you're very lucky because if I didn't have a good day, you'd be in Studio 1 as opposed to Studio.
And it would be that strong from here, I'd be thinking.
Oh gosh, yes. Gosh, yeah.
And it's like
today I haven't really. I'm quite hungry. I've only had like strawberries for breakfast and beetroot juice.
Yeah.
So if I'd had an egg or something, you would probably be over there.
Actually, I've had eggs. It might be the opposite. You might be and can you smell it yourself? Do you know? Do you think, oh gosh, I'm having a bad day?
It's just terrible. The fact you can't smell it yourself. You can't gauge when you smell and when you don't. So even if you don't smell, you still feel inhibited. You still don't feel confident and relaxed because you think, oh God, I smell. And any reaction you will perceive as being an indication that you smell. So it's a very tricky condition to manage.
Well, listen, you are a great ambassador, isn't she, Dawn, to say, it is about awareness, isn't it? And trying to get help for other people. So thank you very much for talking about it. You and Dawn, I know, will carry on talking. I'm sure we'll have details and help on our website as well if you need it.
Right.
Thank you both very much. And let's hope you do raise that awareness and get help for other people.
There is
watching.
A petition actually. It's Mebo Research. It's a website.
Okay, we'll put that on our. You give us the details. We'll put it on our website.
So
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Aim.
Another competition. A lot of you enjoying entering this and fancying getting your hands